Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Table It, where we are dissecting society and inspiring change. And so we welcome you and thank you very much for joining us this afternoon or morning or evening, depending on where you are in the world. So We Table It is an exciting platform that looks to talk about, social issues that affect different people in different ways, and it's held together by three co-hosts. That is myself, Valerie Siganga. Our other co-host is Ene Unukpo, and we have Dr. Saro Aigbogun as well, who are co-hosts in this series. And today afternoon on my end, where it's afternoon, you're going to have myself as the host, Valerie Siganga, taking you through a topic that is actually quite interesting for me, something that I know many people have battled with and have questions with, and something I think would be beneficial for anybody, whether you're in this space or not, because we all know somebody who can relate to this topic. And the topic that we're sharing today is finding a job. So before we get started, I would like to ask if you are following our pages, thank you very much for following or subscribing to We Table It. If you've not followed our pages yet, I'll request that you do follow our pages. We are present on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. So we are easy to find. Follow our pages just to stay abreast of all the different content that we have to share. There's always something interesting and a lesson that can be learned. If you'd like to have a look at some of our previous topics, where we've also had guest speakers come on, you can do so by visiting our YouTube page or our Facebook timeline, and you'll be able to listen to any of our previous talks. And if you do want to get in touch with us, you can do so through any of our comment sections, send us a message on any of our platforms, and we will get back to you. And so for today's talk, what I'd like to ask is if you have a question, a suggestion, a comment, please share that in the comment section, and we will be happy to interact and also bring you into what it is that we're discussing so that you can share your point of view as well. So, again, a very warm welcome and thank you for joining me today as we discuss finding a job. Now, this topic is something that came to me a while back and also has continued to gain momentum in terms of my interactions with different people and researching on what finding a job actually looks like. And somebody asked me a question the other day, and it was in relation to Kenyans. And the question was, is it hard to find a job in Kenya? And I remember sitting and thinking, well, the answer really is in who it is that you ask about finding a job, whether they would see that it is difficult or something that is not difficult, because there's different ways that people find jobs. So it really comes down to how do people find jobs to determine whether it is hard or not hard. And in getting ready for today's topic, I had the privilege of speaking to different people and asking them, how did you find your job? And I think what stood out for me most interestingly is of this, I'll say the cross section of people that I spoke to, no two people had the same response. So everybody seems to have a unique experience that guided them towards how they were actually able to find a job. And from that new unique experience, there's a lot that we can learn and draw on. So that if you're in the space of looking for a job, there's some things that you can do to help you find one. And if you've always wondered, how is it that some people end up with really great jobs and others do not end up with great jobs or end up with jobs that don't seem to be the best fit for them, we'll touch a little bit on that as well. And so let's get started and just dive right into it. So, the best way I think to start on a topic like finding a job is from a shared personal experience, which I want to do that with you first, before going into what others are experiencing and what I've learned about the process of finding a job. And so I'll talk about how is it that I was able to find a job when I was looking for one. And the first place that I think it's important to put some focus on is building relationships. So the question really is, what is building relationships? What does that mean? And how does it help you to find a job if you're looking for one? Well, building relationships really is about how you interact with other people. How is it that you maintain and communicate with people so that when potential opportunities arise, you are top of mind for consideration? And so I will look at building relationships with you in two ways, from a first job and a job that came further down the line. So, one of my earlier jobs when it comes to building relationships was about really giving everything it is that I could to the job that I was given. And that looks like making sure that once you're given a role, you fulfill all the responsibilities that you're supposed to, and that you do that with grace. And there's a reason for that. It's not so that you can stand out and so that you can, one up the people who are working around you, but think of it in terms of what is it that the employer is trying to achieve and what is it that they want to do? Why is it that they've hired you? Now, I know when I mentioned that, it might sound like, but if you're finding a job, where does the employer come in? This actually begins before you find a job. When you're working in different spaces and interacting with people, how do you do that? Simple example. For a university student, imagine that you are in university and that you're in the process of doing coursework or group work or something with a group of people, and the job needs to get done. There's a task that you have been given that you need to fulfill. The question you need to ask yourself is, how do you go about fulfilling that task? And why is that important? The reason that it's important is that often when you're fulfilling a task, you may not have a full perception of who is watching and looking and observing at your actions and what it is that you do. So when you don't have that idea, imagine that everybody is watching. Because from watching how it is that you're doing something, something comes in terms of how you relate with other people. And when you have positive relationships with other people, they also have positive things to say about you. So the building of relationships actually takes place even before you end up in the job market. From the learning experience and the learning process, you can begin from that stance. So you start from you're in your college and you're building relationships and you're working hard. And let's say somebody notices what it is that you're doing and offers you an opportunity to begin working. All right. So why I mention that is the experience that I went through. So through being in college, working together with teams, building relationships, relating with other people positively, an opportunity arose where there was work that was available. It was initially packaged as a small job. Because I'm in event management, it was a small event that I was asked, would you be willing to come in and support with this event? And I agreed to. It was not an opportunity that was around money, but more about actually just being there and supporting somebody. And so I agreed to do that. And that event went well. And the outcome from that was the beginning of a deeper relationship with the person who then became my first employer. So by offering that support and seeing how it is that I worked and committed myself to what needed to be done, I got my first job. Now, what's important to remember is, or to note, when I was getting that first job, it was not about how much experience I had, because sometimes we get caught up in, do we have enough experience for the job? It was not about what I knew because it was my first job. I didn't know much. What I knew about myself was that if you tell me to do a task and give me some direction, I will give it my best to execute. And that's what I did. And from there, the first job was able to materialize. So that's how I got my first job. And what happened after that is from my first job and the work that I did, I was then able to be recognized so that I could move into my second job. Now, why relationships are so important became clear to me several years down the road. And what happened is there was an opportunity to get work. Now, I had decided to start a family, and so I had left the job market and started my family. And in that, once my child had grown to a certain stage, I was then ready to go back into the job market. But then here is a challenge that many women, I believe, face when they reach that type of milestone. Having been outside the job market for a while, things continue to move and there's rapid growth. And so sometimes when attempting to re enter into that job space, you find that what you know is no longer being applied the way it used to be applied. And that could bring forward some insecurity or feeling like you're not a good fit for the job market. And in that instance, what I was able to do was leverage on relationships. And so that meant talking to people that I had interacted with and worked with before and seeing what opportunities were available. And from doing that, I was able to then get a job. So here we're looking at the importance of building relationships because the relationships that you create can carry you forward, not just in the moment that you need them, but also in the future when a need that they could not envision arises and you need to look for a job. So that is where I think it's a good place to start in looking at how do you go about getting yourself a job. Now, let's move to the next way that you can get a job. And this is through a recruitment agent. So, here I'll give you a story of a friend of mine who was looking for a job. My friend had held a position in the company that he was employed in for several years. In fact, I think more than 10 years, he'd worked in one company and had reached the point where he was looking for a different opportunity. Now, what's interesting here is sometimes you're looking to find a job, but because you have one, you're not very active in how it is that you're looking, right? So you have conversations with people and let them know if an opportunity comes up, I'd be willing to explore it and see what could come of it. And so that's what he did. He let a few people around him know that, I've been in this position for a long time, and I think I've reached the ceiling of what I can achieve. If an opportunity was to arise and it was a good one, I'd consider looking for something else and moving. Now, what happened that he was able to move from the job that he had held for more than a decade into a new position without actively looking, right? This is where a recruitment agent can be a great support. So, what does a recruitment agent do? With a recruitment agent, you share with them the information that you have to support you getting a job. So, whether that is your CV, your career goals, what it is that you want to achieve, how much you would like to earn, the type of environment that you would like to work in, whatever criteria is important to you, you share that with a recruitment agent. And what the recruitment agent has the ability to do is to match you with opportunities with employers who are looking for what you have to offer and what would make you most comfortable. And when they find a match, they're able to connect both of you to see whether you're willing to start working together. So that is how he was able to move from one job where he had job security, everything was going well, but just an opportunity for growth was the one thing that he couldn't sort of overlook, to finding an opportunity that allowed him to spread his wings, explore new ways of working in with an employer who was looking for exactly what it is that he had to offer. So, in if you're considering as well transitioning from one role to another role, seeking out opportunities that can benefit what it is that you like to achieve, then you can also consider going through a recruitment agent. And with that recruitment agent, finding something that really works for you and then taking on that job. All right. So that's another way that you can find a job or look for a position that is best suited to you. Now, let's go to the third. And I think this is perhaps one of the most effective ways to find a job: friend referral, right? So, what does friend referral look like? When you've got somebody who understands what you're capable of and is willing to support you, they can hear of opportunities that are available and refer you for those opportunities. Now, why are friend referrals, so important? A friend referral is something that holds a lot of weight. In marketing, when we're looking at selling something, we talk about the power of word of mouth, right? Think about when you want to buy something. As an example, maybe you want to buy a television. Now, look at the steps that you follow before you buy the television. I'd like to assume that before you buy the television, you'll read a few reviews to see, is this a good television or is it not a good television? You might do some comparisons online. What works, what doesn't work? If you have a friend who has a similar television, it's likely you'd ask them, hey, what's been your experience with this television? Does it work? Is it something good? And if it is something good, then they would say, okay, yeah, this is something that works. Let's give it a try, right? Or you should actually get one for yourself. So in that instance, you say, okay, from all these options, I'm going to buy this television. The reason being, after reading reviews, after doing my own research, I know at least one person who has had a positive experience with it. So the same applies for when you're looking for a job, right? Imagine the person who is seeking to fill in a position, looking for somebody who's the right fit. In a employment market that has millions of people, that in itself can be a challenge. So often people will tell their friends, do you know somebody who's looking for a job who can fit this position? Do you know how it is that I can actually get someone who will be able to help me deliver what I need to deliver? Right. Now, as I move forward, I'd just like to add like one of my co-hosts to the conversation and just get her point of view on friend referral, if she's ever used friend referral, and if that has helped her in getting a job or for somebody she knows getting a job, right? So, welcome, Eno. I hope you can see me and hear me. Ah, there you are. Hi, Eno. How are you? Eno, you can hear me? Yes. Eno, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Well done, Valerie. Hi,
Oh,
everyone.
great.
Yeah, you were asking a
Yes.
question
Hi,
if I've ever
everyone.
used a friend
Oh,
referral, right?
yeah. So I was, yes, if you've actually encountered
All
someone who's
right.
gotten a job through a referral or yeah.
Yeah, I have used one, not just one, even two job referrals before. The last one
Mm,
I had, that was before COVID. I had this job for a while, and it was actually someone who referred me that this person is capable of doing this. And then I was contacted. That's one. And then over 10 years ago, same thing applied. We had a job opening, and I was referred to apply for that. And when I did, yes, I actually got the job. So, yes, I agree with you. Friend referral goes a long, long way. Like, I will advise people to let me just digress a bit. They should focus a bit on reviews of any product, whatever it is, because people want to see reviews. Same thing goes with referrals. Uh, the employer gets first-hand information from whoever the referee is, that this person is, capable of doing this. This person has the capacity to fit into what we want, and yes,
Mhm.
it works. Referral does work. I've had that, and yes, I would, yeah, say it works.
Yeah, and as you're talking, you've reminded me of even in the journey of working in the past. I'd applied for a job, I remember, just out of university. And in those days, we were not applying online. So, what applying for a job looked like was you have a lot of envelopes, a lot of letters, and you're sending them.
Yeah,
That's how we used to literally apply for jobs. Now, at least
true.
online, it's much easier. But then it was a lot of work. And there's a
It's much
job I
easier.
had really, yeah, it was a dream job of mine, and I applied for it. And then when we got our rejection, it would come in the mail. It would be posted. It was not an email. And I applied for it, and I knew this would be perfect for
Okay.
me. And then I got a letter that was telling me, "Oh, I'm sorry, we were unable to take you for this position." And I remember feeling devastated that I can't believe I didn't get that position. It was perfect for me. And what happened that I got another job was the person who was doing the recruiting in that position actually was also recruiting for other similar companies, right? That were looking for staff. And
Okay.
that person did not know me as a friend. They knew me from my whatever I had written in my application to apply, then referred me to another company where I was able to go through the interview process and get a job, similar space, similar income. And I was like, oh my goodness, first, I would have never heard of the other job that was available. They didn't advertise it in the traditional way. But I didn't know that even just my application had made enough of an impression on somebody that they could refer you know so sometimes the referral can come, I think, from a friend, but it's also in the way that you package yourself, so that when somebody looks and sees, they're like, yeah, this is someone who's worth our company working for. But if they can't work for us, I know where it is that they can be a good fit, and they can refer you like that as well you know so yeah, you've reminded
That's
me,
true.
there's, when it comes to referrals, there's different ways to get the jobs. And I'm thinking also, how do friends refer? Because normally referrals are very informal, you know. It's, if you think about, if anybody has ever asked you for a referral, it's not like you're in a business meeting and then they say, "Can you refer somebody to me like this?" Normally, it's a casual conversation, maybe because I know you're an employer, so that's why I'm saying, asking you, maybe you're having lunch with somebody, or you're having a conversation, you've met at a function, and that's when they say, "Oh, do you know someone like this?" So I think for when looking for someone who's looking for a job, you need to make sure those influential people in your network, they are top of mind. You are top of mind for them. Yeah. Have you had that
That's true.
experience?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Oh, the
So,
network.
oh, your network is a bit slow. All right. So, Eno, I'm going
Yeah,
to
but I
ask.
can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay. So now, Eno, could you let us know anything about applying online?
All right, applying for jobs, applying online for jobs. All right, so it's interesting. The dynamics of applying for jobs has changed since this everywhere went digital. Uh, Before now, it's traditional. You probably see the vacancy in the newspapers or word of mouth from a friend or a family member. But now it's totally different. We still have some part of it. I don't want to call it the brick and mortar way. Okay, so that's the analog way, or whatever way you go about getting a job in the past, the traditional way of getting jobs. But right now, what's obtainable is even the agencies that employment agencies, they are online, they have their website, and people just go in, create a profile for themselves. One thing that's important is you have a cover letter, you would have a CV. The cover letter introduces you to any prospective employer, and the CV says everything that an employer would want to know about you, your experiences, your educational background, any kind of soft skills you have, any kind of certifications you have, whatever you have, you just place it. Valerie just made mention of something. She said that someone else who she didn't know was able to, recommend her or refer her for another position just by looking at her CV. Now, this is very important that we get it right. If you are a job seeker, the way you present yourself would, tell or will improve your chances of getting a job. I used to tell the ones under me, I tell them, uh, especially the ones who have come in through the youth service, National Youth Service Corps, I tell them to prepare them for the world ahead. I'll tell them, make sure that you get it right when it comes to your cover letter and when it comes to your CV. Another thing I tell them is their digital representation, wherever their footprint is, especially for those who are on professional sites like LinkedIn. Make sure you have a very good profile, a profile that tells exactly who you are, what you do, what you're up to, and who you would want to connect with. It should let people know when you are open, especially when you are in need of a job. It should be stated on your profile that you are in need of a job. So yes, there are different platforms
Mm.
online you can actually get it. You can get through LinkedIn, you can get through job sites, agencies as well. They have their website, job sites like Job Street. Yeah, I know that's a very old one. I don't know about the ones that you may have in your own country. There are lots of job seeking job sites for people who are looking for jobs. So you go there, you create a profile, you upload your CV. Please, I want to reiterate again, make sure that you have a spot on CV. People can just tell the kind of person you are by looking at
I
your
see
CV.
your network. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for. All right,
Mm.
sorry about that. It's the usual hiccup with my network in this part of the world. So I was saying
Yeah.
something about it. Uh, I want to reiterate on this. I want to reiterate on this point. Your CVs, your cover letter should be professionally done. If you know you do not have you don't know how to do that, you get professional help, make sure that it is well done. For me, an employer, I take note of things like that. When I look at it, if it's not well organized, I just see you as someone who is not organized. And even before I meet you, I have concluded like 80% that this person is not organized. I
Mhm.
can be very, very, in fact, I have a penchant for excellence when it comes to these things. I take note of these things. So, yes, let me go back to the question. Applying online, there are
Mm.
websites, you can apply job sites, you can apply agency sites, you can apply online. At the end of this program, we are going to post resources for you so that you can have links to where you can apply if you are seeking for jobs. So get your cover letter right, get your CV right, and be ready for an interview whenever they call you. That's that.
Mm. Gosh, Eno, thank you, because that is now the practical advice for somebody who's looking. When you're looking online, the thing with online today is that there's so many different places to apply. And I just wanted to share something
Okay.
when I was talking to a friend of mine about how she got her job, and she normally applies online. And she shared with me that the statistics that show that when it comes to online applications, men apply for online jobs much more frequently than women. And what was found out, why is
Okay.
this the case? Because I was like, why? What does that mean? She said for women, when we look at a job description, before we apply for the job, we want to make sure we have everything in the job description, you know? So if the job description is saying you need to have these 10 skills, we feel like in order to apply for this job, we need to have these 10 skills. If we're missing three of the skills, then we hold ourselves back from applying because we think now we're not a good fit. But apparently, the way men
Yeah.
approach applying for
Yeah.
jobs online is from the job description. If they have like half of the skills, then for them, they're applying, they're trying to see whether they're going to get this position or not. And therefore, you'll find that there's some instances you're wondering why are there more men getting opportunities, let's say, than women, or when it comes to job applications being received. And there's that perception when it comes to online applications. And so I'm sharing a quote right now from our conversation because my conversation with her, she kept saying so many rich things. I'm like, ooh, all your phrases are like quotes. But she shared with me that a job description from an employer is not a fixed document. The job description is their wish list, right? So a wish list is if everything could be perfect,
Mm.
this is what the person would look like. But even with that in mind, they know that it's not possible sometimes to find the person who has all of these things. So, like, let's say you're looking for an assistant,
All
you might
this.
want the assistant to have to be able to use computer programs, to be able to talk to suppliers, to be able to go out and do photography, whatever it is. But you know that to find someone who does all of those things perfectly might not be viable. So now, in the interview process, is when you start to decide who is the best fit for what it is that the job is asking for. And so, what I'd suggest for anyone also looking to apply online, it's don't restrict yourself by saying this job I don't have everything it is that they're looking for. If you have at least half of what it is that's being asked for, try. There's no harm in trying and in applying. And in the same conversation, because the friend that I spoke to and why I thought apply online is important to include is she gets jobs through applying online. But she also reiterated that you have to keep applying. Don't apply for one job and feel bad when you don't get it. Like, oh my goodness, it's not working. This is terrible. And you have to apply for many jobs. You almost become automatic at applying. You're just applying. And from maybe 100 applications, you will land like three interviews. So you need to keep looking for opportunities and keep applying. And as you're applying, there's something that's important to remember about how we apply. I think when I think about it, it's more a millennial thing. And we touched on it the other day, in a different talk, when we're talking about what is it that we studied in school and what is it that we're doing, right? And sometimes what we
We're
studied in
doing
school
right
is
now.
different from what it is that we're doing. So even when you're applying, you can look at it two ways. You've got your educational background, which is a fantastic support that gives you credibility for a job in your field. But in the same breath, you've got your skills. In addition to supporting your educational background, what can you actually practically do? And when you're applying for a job, don't let your educational background restrict you from looking for different opportunities. Opportunities are everywhere. So, like for you, I know you've got, if I remember well, your first degree is in zoology, right? But that did not restrict you from
Yes,
looking for
please. Yeah, you're
opportunities in the
correct.
tech space. Yeah. So you're able to find opportunities in the tech space. but it needed you to be brave and say, okay, this is what I have, but this is what I want to do, and to go for it. Yeah. So also just a tip for those who are
That's true.
applying online. Yeah, there's opportunity. Just keep looking and keep trying. And then, Eno, something and I'd like you to share from your experiences as an employer, online applications. So for me, I'm also an employer. When I receive online applications, for example, through email, what makes me dismiss an application upon receipt that I don't read it? One is if it comes to me as an email with no heading in the email, no body of the email, just an attachment, like somebody just attached a CV and sent it to me. So then I receive it. I look at this email. I'm like, what does this person want me to do? They're giving me work to open the email, open their attachment. I don't know what they're applying for. They're just applying. Or maybe I put up a job post for, a marketing executive. So the email heading will say marketing executive. Inside, no, no body of the email, just an attachment. And as an employer, I feel like I was on a list of people they were sending to. As long as they've sent, they're okay. Yeah. So, what are some of the experiences that you've had in receiving applications that make you say, I wouldn't give this person a job, even if they were looking and I needed?
Please come again. You said,
I was asking when people apply online, like let's say someone's sending you a job application online, what is it that would stop you from even reading their CV? The first thing that you say, this person is not a good fit for me, based on how it is that they apply.
you actually answered the question yourself. For me, I check a lot of things. I check your diction. I check the way you put your grammar together. I check a lot of things. Now, WhatsApp has made it so easy for anybody to just send you messages directly. So people can even go through the unofficial route. They just come to your WhatsApp and send you their CV directly. Some even go as far as going to the business pages and straight into the inboxes. They send you their CV. They just tell you, hey, please, I'm looking for a job. Some of them just go, hi, I'm looking for a job. And there is no formality in their approach. So I just see those ones, I dismiss them. Little things like thanks can turn me completely out of the whole thing. You don't say thanks when you are applying for a job, it is thank you. You need to be as formal. I'm sure some of you had these lessons when you were in your junior secondary schools. You've been told that
Mm,
thank you is much more appropriate when you are doing formal letters instead of just using the word thanks. Hi, you are not to be using hi when you are applying for a job, you are sending an email, you are doing hi. Hello, good day. You have to be very, very formal. So I think a lot of people need to go back to the basics, go back to learn how to write grammar, how to write a proper formal letter. You are wanting to write to
mm,
somebody to apply for a job and your grammar is having a problem. If you are the type that is to be employed to face customers, who would want to have someone that would give them a problem of uh, a poor grammar? Nobody would want that. So people
mm,
should learn to put themselves together. You are looking for a job, then you have to act like one who deserves that position you are looking for. So yes, when I see the grammar, that could be a complete no for me. You don't send, like Valerie
mm,
said, without even a title, an email title, or without anything. You just send it later like that. Learn to, exploit every opportunity to introduce yourself properly, no matter how brief it will be. But
mm,
let anybody opening you, even if it's on Facebook, for instance, let me just see your message and understand why you are sending me a message, and it should be well delivered. So this is it. Check your grammar and check your approach, your presentation too as well.
Oh, yes, I know. You have nailed it on the head. I'd even forgotten about the WhatsApp messages. which come in. And yeah, someone just writes hi, then you don't know, do you reply hello? What are we doing? But yes, yeah, it's important. It's the details that employers are looking for. So as you're looking to find a job and you're making applications, pay attention to the details, you know? Now, internship. And this one is an interesting space. Why I say that is it has two approaches to it. There are people who think that internship is almost like, I don't want to say slave labor, but they view it as work that they're not being paid for. Like interns are just brought in to fill gaps and make sure, small tasks are done. But actually, from the employer's point of view, internship is a way to work with people, identify people who have the right skills that can be further developed. And at the end of the internship, usually the what is supposed to happen or the intention is to incorporate the best workers into the organization. And one of the people I spoke to explained that how she got her job was through an internship. So she started the internship. Of course, as an intern, you're asked to do a range of tasks, some within your what you expected to do, some outside what you are expected to do. Through the internship, in different places, they were being evaluated. And at some point into the internship, jobs became available within the organization. And because they were in the organization at the time, they were the first ones to find out these jobs are available. And they were able to apply even before the jobs sort of get to everybody. And now you get a slew of applications. Now, what happens in that instance? The person that you're applying to now has an idea of who you are and what you're capable of doing and where you can fit into the organization. And so it becomes easier to overcome many barriers in the employment process. And she and the people she was doing internship with were given the available positions, So there's something to be said that's really important about internships. Now, internships are typically not paid, which means that you don't go into an internship expecting to receive a salary. And that is a whole generational discussion, I think, when we look at expectations from different generations. But internship should be viewed as a door is opening, right? How do you walk through the door? If you have some experience, this door will open wide and you'll be able to walk in. It's a stepping stone to get you to where you want to be if you've got a career path, right? Internship should not be viewed as I'm being used because you're really not. You are actually in the process of learning. Yeah. And this, I'd like to share just another quote that's related to internship, which is do not coast through experiences thinking there is more time. So many people, when they're looking for jobs or looking to find a job, believe I won't do this one. There's another one that I can do. I still have time to figure this out and to get to where I want to get to. And what that means is that many times an opportunity may not present itself the way you expect it to, right? It may be packaged as something else that will lead you to the career that you're supposed to have. So here I'll share an example and I'll use a personal one, whereby what I studied was hotel and restaurant management. And what I'm doing, or what I ended up doing at some point, was event management, which was my passion, right? Now, when an experience for event management came up, I went for it. Although I knew that eventually I'm supposed to be in a hotel or in a restaurant. But it turned out to be one of the best decisions that I made because I thought, okay, let me just do this as I am trying to get into my career. So I worked in event management. Eventually, when I landed where I thought I was supposed to be, which was hotel and restaurant management, I was like, no, let me just go back to where it is that I enjoy. Now, I was young, there was time, right? When you look at time in terms of youth, maybe you're 20 and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've got 70 years left of life. So I don't need to do everything now. But the thing is, every little experience that you add on to your quest to find the job that is perfect for you adds value to you, right? So any internship and opportunity that shows up like that is something that should be seriously considered, as part of your growth and fitting into the workplace. I don't know, Eno, what do you think about internship?
I feel the same way. You should maximize the opportunity of internship to actually get yourself fixed in a place where you probably would enjoy because like Valerie said, you made me smile when you said that you can have time in your youth, within your 20s, within your 30s, to explore a lot of opportunities. And that's what comes with internship. In that time, you can explore a lot of opportunities. So, yes, when you are doing internship, you are open to that opportunity to actually plant yourself in the place where you are working as an intern, if you like the job. Yes. A lot of people actually started out with one, and like she said, they ended up with something else, like what we have in our country here in Nigeria. You might be sent to do internship in a place that's not directly connected to what you originally started with, and then you begin to find out that you have passion for so many other fields. Yes, it's a good time to explore and a good time to get yourself fixed in the place where you did your internship if you have very good or outstanding performance. Yes, you will be able to secure that position. So explore and exploit that opportunity to get yourself started well.
Oh, yes, I agree, definitely. And I know there's something you keep saying that I really hope people are picking up. You have to apply yourself and you have to give your best. Because when you do that, it shows people notice it and more opportunities are able to open up for you,
Yeah,
you know? Now, I loved this point, and this was from
that's true.
when I was researching this topic. I spoke to someone about how do you find a job, and she told me I don't have a formula of how I find a job, but I approach everything with humility and I pray. I pray to God and tell Him this is what it is that I need, and can He open up and make that available for me? And she says that is what has worked for her in terms of jobs and looking for a job. And I think because I'm from a Christian background, and I know you're from a Christian background as well. And I know there are other religions and also people who may not be religious. So this part of the talk may be focused on those who really do believe in prayer. Prayer does change things in terms of circumstances, in terms of giving you strength, in terms of opening doors, and really putting that trust that God is hearing you and that God will give you the opportunity that you need when you need it. And one of the insights that the friend I spoke to said is that sometimes in the process of looking for a job or finding a job, you might be applying to so many places, you might be getting so many rejections. As in, it could be a process that for you is negative because you're not getting the result it is that you're looking for. And if you're doing your applications and everything with humility and prayer and a level of trust in God, there's an understanding that sometimes God is saving you from an opportunity that is not for you, but clearing a path so that you can get the opportunity that is for you, So making
That's
sure
right
that
for
you
you.
also invest in prayer when you're looking for your job is something I think that could be really life changing for anyone who is in the space of looking or finding a job. Yeah, Enna, what are your thoughts on, just having humility and praying?
I agree with that thought process of approaching with humility and with prayer. That makes a whole lot of sense because sometimes
Mm,
we want to get something and it is actually not right for us. and you pour in all your energy if you lack direction. So, what prayer helps you achieve is for you to refocus, for you to focus, on the core. Somehow, prayer will give you the
Mm,
strength to, align your dream, your visions to what is good for you. Okay. Um, I don't want to go too deep for the benefit of people who do not share the same beliefs as us. But like we said, this part of this broadcast is for those who believe in prayers. This is what prayers can help you achieve. It can help you get clarity. When you pray, you know the next step, you know whether this step is okay for you or whether you should turn another way, So this is what prayer helps you to achieve. And if there are obstacles as well, prayer gives you the strength to be able to identify where the problem is and then to get rid of these obstacles. So one thing that prayer does is
mm,
for you, not even the job you are seeking for in this case. It's for you. It helps sharpen you. It helps prepare you, either for the rejection, either for the redirection.
mm,
Prayer does help you. So I would advise every one of you when you're looking for a job, when you're looking for a job, prayer does help
mm.
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know you've broken up a little bit, which I think is a network issue. But I think we captured most of what you have shared in terms of just the approach to prayer. And if you are religious and believe in prayer, leading into that is the process of looking and finding a job. You know, I know you're back. You froze for a moment there, but I think we managed to get the essence of what you were
Oh,
sharing.
sorry about my network.
Not a problem. It's okay.
Okay. All right.
All
So that's
right.
what I said in conclusion.
Mm,
Yeah. So
yeah.
can you hear me, Valerie? Okay. Sorry about that. So I just want to round up what I was saying. I said prayer. That's for those who didn't hear me. Prayer can help you get direction, can help you to refocus. It's going to give you strength actually for in case it's a rejection, if in case a redirection to go another route, whichever one, prayer is going to give you what you need. Just stay connected to the source.
Oh, I agree, Ken Eno, completely. Now, this is an interesting one, I think. And this is when you're looking to find a job, ask questions. And this question is a job might pop up, especially when you're in need. So you really need this job, you need the income, you just need the job. But before you simply take the job, ask yourself, is this job right for me? You know, because sometimes opportunities are available when we're in need, but because we're in need, we take up opportunities that are not right for us. And therefore, you end up in a job that you have chosen that does not give you joy, that does not fulfill you in any way. And here we'll give an example of relationships. So, Eno, after you've been single for a long time, and now you're ready to find a partner, start a relationship, and the first man that crosses your path, you go with that one, and very quickly realize, oh no, 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 this is not going to work for me, right? But as you've gone with this one and others were passing, now you've wasted some time on a prospect that's not going to lead you anywhere. You have to go through the process of leaving the prospect so that you can be open for new prospects to find you. So even with jobs, yeah, a job comes along and it looks like, I mean, you need a job and it is here and it's got money and you want to take it. but you need to ask yourself some questions. Is this the right fit for you, and your personality, your values, the company? Is this the sort of role that you see is going to help you on your career path and growth? In the terms of the way the payment is coming, is this the sort of payment that you would like to receive for what you know you have to offer, the value that you have to offer? You know, is this remuneration enough that you can actually do this job comfortably, right? Is this job something that aligns with where it is that you'd like to go sort of in life and what it is you'd like to achieve? If you're a parent, does this job give you flexibility if something happens with your children, that you can also cater to the needs of your family as well as be able to effectively give what is necessary for your job, you know? So there are questions you need to ask yourself before you take the first job that is available to you, and make sure that as much as you want the job is also a right fit for you. And in this instance, there's a way that you can find out, is this job right for me? And it is during an interview. So typically nowadays, when you go through an interview, there's questions that the employer obviously will ask you to see if you're a good fit. And at the end, they ask, do you have any questions for us? Right? Look at an interview as a two-way process. They're interviewing you, you're also interviewing them, right? Because when you go to work, it's a needs
Yeah.
exchange. They need something that you have, you need something that they have. So you're supporting each other, right? They're not doing you a favor. You're not doing them a favor. It's needs exchange. So you also need to be clear on whether they are able to meet the needs that you have. So also take some time to frame some questions that you can ask to determine whether, from this interview, even if they were to give you the position, are they the right fit for you? Yeah. Enno, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I quite agree with you on that. A lot of us can be so, that is what I want to you, lax about these things. They go to interviews very unprepared. One of the questions I ask the candidate is, did you do a research about this company? And you'll
Mm,
be so amazed. A lot of them don't even bother to do a proper research. All they're wanting is the job and the pay. They don't know that a lot of things goes on with that job in helping you build your career or in helping you in your growth journey. Uh,
mm,
so they don't do the research. It's very important. One thing one way I would evaluate a candidate's capability is seeing his or her preparedness. If they come in
mm,
with questions, when you ask them questions, they ask you questions. It shows that these ones are ready, they are proactive, uh, they know what they want, and this is the feel, this is the kind of energy any employer will be looking for, that you know what you want. So never make the mistake of going in for an interview without doing a proper background check on the company you are going for. It's important. A lot of us in this generation, this Gen Z, or what they call them generation, they are very, very carefree. They just do whatever they want to do. So this is a word out there for you guys. When you are going for an interview, do a proper check. And like Valerie said, please be ready to ask your questions, because just it's a two-way street, and just as you're gaining, they are equally gaining from you. So it's your right to ask questions and it's your right to get answers.
mm. Oh, yes, agreed. All right. So I think I have one more point when it comes to finding a job, and it links to the other point, turning down offers, right? And so, what does this look like? Um, well, I think this is something that happens to everyone as you progress in your career. You may become an expert or somebody who is really revered in the space that you are in. And with that comes offers that will come to you and ask you, whether you're able to take up a position or not. These are job offers. And job offers are really openings, first of all, to understanding how people are perceiving you out there, but they're also openings to opportunities. An offer may come to you today that you are unable to take up at this moment because you're involved in something else. But in the future, this offer could be something that would be attractive for you. So even when you get an offer and you're not able to take up that position, it might not be the right fit for you. Whatever reason is there in terms of turning down that offer, you need to turn down that offer in a thoughtful way that leaves the door open for communication or interaction in the future. And this ties into the very first point of building relationships, right? So, how is it that you can turn down an offer and say, thank you for the offer, but this does not fit for me at the moment? A way that you can turn down the offer is to actually let the person who's given you the offer know what is it that you would be able to do, right? As opposed to what it is they've offered you. So maybe someone is offering you a managerial position, but what you're able to do is consulting. So you tell them, I'm unable to take up this offer at the moment, though if you consider this, I will be able to take it on. Or at this time, I'm not available, but from this time, I will be available. And that then gives the person an opportunity to think, okay, if this really is the person that I want for this particular position, how do I fit into what they have to offer? How can that work? And you might find opportunities open up for you so that you get to a job that aligns with what it is that you want to achieve personally. Yeah. And have you ever had to turn down an offer that's been given to you for a job or an opportunity?
Um, I'm trying to think now if I've ever had to turn down any offer. Not really, not really. But like you said, it's very important that you leave the door open. You don't just shut the door, try to establish relationships because you may need to walk through that door again. All right, so do it in a proper way. Uh, if it's in a formal way, you write a letter, like she said, and making them, giving them a choice to say, this is it. I would rather do this, and this is because of this. So subsequently, they know exactly where to place you if you would need to walk in through that door again.
Mm. Oh, yes, yes. And the way the world works, you never know when an opportunity, or somebody remembers something about you or what you've done and looks for you in order to fill in something that they believe would be beneficial for your skills and for what they're looking to achieve. Okay? So now that's what we have in terms of today, really discussing or touching on how is it that you can go about finding a job. And I think one of the things that you've noticed about uh, our discussion, or that I hope you notice, is the different ways that you can find a job. Okay. Many times people believe that the only way you can find a job is applying online. If they don't reply, then you don't get the job. In fact, in Africa, in Kenya, I don't know whether it's the same in Nigeria, they say you cannot get a job unless you know someone. I don't know who this someone person is, but they say you have to know someone so that you can get the job, you know? But not necessarily, you don't need to know someone. I think when it comes to looking for a job, there's so many different avenues. And what's important is to look at how are you exploring each of those different avenues. For the ones that we have shared, we've shared 8 of them. So there are 8 different ways or approaches that you can use to get a job. Have you used all 8? You know, have you built relationships? Have you looked for a recruiting agent? Have you applied online? Have you spoken to people and had your friends refer you? So look at what it is that you are doing and how it is that you're looking to see whether that is having any impact on your results. And you make sure that you look at as many options as possible, right? And yeah, I know, any last word in regards to finding a job?
Yeah. So my last word on this. Well done, Valerie. This is a good one. The last week I had a session with some of my youth core members. In other places, they would be called national interns. All right. So we had a heart-to-heart talk, and we find out a lot of them are
Yes.
not ready. I had to guide them through the CV process and getting your introduction, a cover letter, and a short bio just to introduce yourself, professionally, formally, and all that. You need to put this
Mm,
in perspective. If you are a job seeker, make sure you get these things in place. You get a professional done CV, you get your bio in place. It doesn't matter what level you are at. Don't be intimidated by the big titles you see on people's profiles. You are going to work your way right up there. But wherever you
mm,
are, stay confident and try to project yourself the best way you can. And as you are going on, make sure you grab as much skills as you can. My dears, it
mm,
is free and on so many platforms online. You can get some soft skills from Coursera, from Grow with Google. There are so many resources you can get some soft skill. Make sure you spend every time wisely, because this is some of the things that employers will look out for. They would ask you questions like, from this time you had an engagement to this time you are seeking for a job, what have you been doing in
mm,
between? So make sure that you maximize the use of your time to grow yourself. People are looking out for
mm.
that. So that's my last word on it. I hope we'll have another talk on job seeking sometime soon. Well done, Valerie.
Thank you so much, Eno. Thank you for, all the sharing that you've done, the advice. I really do hope people take it, because you've made some points very clear in terms of, for the people who are looking, and they're applying, what is it that they need to incorporate so that they can be noticed? And also the importance of really being intentional about looking for your job and finding that job, and doing so with grace, so that the relationships that you build carry forward into different things in the future. So, yes, thank you so much, Eno, for being here with me today. And for anybody who's got any questions, comments, please continue to share them in the comment section. We do continue to address them even when the talk is complete. And we'd just like to really thank you for joining us today. If you'd like to see any more of the talks that we have at We Table It, please visit our YouTube page, which is called We Table It, and also visit our Facebook page and scroll through to see some of our previous talks. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's afternoon here, so thank you. And we look forward to having more sessions with you here at We Table It. If you've not yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe and to like our content. Thank you very much, and goodbye.